Welcome to episode 3 of the VanDyk Mortgage West Michigan Conference Weekly Coaches Show. I'm host Cody Kater. Each week I'll be chatting with a coach and players from the West Michigan Conference football team. Last week we featured Hart, Welcome Pirates head coach Joe Tanna, senior Trenton Swihart, and junior Jose Andaverde. This week it's Montague versus Whitehall in the battle for the bell. Accordingly, we'll be bringing in Montague head coach Justin Dennett, seniors Chase Gowell and Owen Petersen. The Wildcats are 2-1 in the season, coming off a 42-6 victory over visiting Orchard View Friday in West Michigan Conference Lakes Division opener. This Friday, Montague travels across the bridge to take on Whitehall, which is 3-0 and coming off of 3 convincing victories. Before we get too far in the show, we need to thank our sponsors who make content like this possible. First off, thanks to our title sponsor, VanDyk Mortgage Lakeshore. Thanks also to Foundation Systems of Michigan, Scheid Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, David Dewsbury, Coldwell Banker, Durga Insurance, Chris Dykema, Sarah Real at Green Ridge, Big Stone Therapies, North Grove Brewers, and Grieve Law. All right, so a little bit more about our guests here. It is Battle for the Bell week. Whitehall kicked off the coaches show a couple weeks ago as defensive coordinator Keith Stratton and seniors brothers Jackson and Shane Cook were guests. Now it's Montague's turn. Justin Dennett is in his second season at Montague's head coach. Prior to Montague, he served as an assistant at Greenville after an 8-4 season last fall in which the Wildcats earned a share of the West Michigan Conference title and won another Division VI district championship. The team is off to a 2-1 start this season. Montague beat Spring Lake in the opener 20-17 and lost a tough one to Ravenna 14-17 in week 2. Last week, the Wildcats got back on track with a 42-6 home win over Orchard View. Accompanying that on the coach's show are senior quarterback Chase Gowell and senior receiver, defensive back, punt return man Owen Petersen. Little stats about Gowell. Gowell is 29 of 40 passing for 454 yards with 4 TDs and 1 pick. Sounds like he should be 30 for 40, but someone had a drop that's also in the room today. He's also ran 20 times for 59 yards and a score. Petersen has 7 receptions, should be 8 from the sounds of it, for 93 yards and 2 TDs. Defensively, Petersen has had 11 total tackles. All right. As we get into this, Owen,
Yep.
Can you introduce yourself and also talk about the previous game and what you're thinking about this next game?
Well, I'm senior Owen Petersen at Montague, and previous game I thought we came out and played really well, and we really needed that because after losing that week 2 game, we made pretty much a deal that that wasn't going to happen again. So we worked really hard in practice last week, and it showed in the game, and that's our same goal for this week coming into the next one, because that is a big game against a really good team, and I think we have the strength to beat them, but it will take good practice and good preparation, good mindset to go there and win it.
Jay, so you switched positions onto the quarterback here, and then now we're going into a big rivalry game. What are your emotions going into this next game?
Just I'm kind of treating it like a regular game. Obviously, big, huge game. There'll be lots of people there. Long history between us and Whitehall, but I'm trying to keep calm. Just treat it like an over game. Still bring the intensity every day to practice, and just try to be my best self out there on the field.
All right, Coach Dennett, you've had one game underneath your belt in the means of the rivalry game. What are you looking forward to in this next game?
Yeah, kind of like these guys said, just responding after that Ravenna loss like we did last week kind of helped get us back on track. And so we're looking just to build on that. We had a tough week of practice last week, and today was off to a good start for this week. So just a few more really good days of practice, kind of lock in, bring the energy, and just be ready to go for Friday, because we know, they're going to be a tough opponent, a lot of talented athletes, and, big up front. So it's going to be a tough task, but, if we have a good week of practice and prepare well, I think we can definitely match their athletes and, bring the intensity and kind of live up to the expectations. It's going to be a great game. We've seen a lot of the good games in this rivalry, so we expect another one this week.
What was the turning point you think last week during practice that these guys kind of, turn it up a notch and ensure that they found that victory against OV?
A lot of it was just the coaches, the assistant coaches, really challenging them and, making sure that we weren't going to let that happen, what happened the week before. So they really embraced that. And Thursday last week, we had a great practice. Everyone was focused, locked in, and then we were just ready to go Friday night against OV and took care of business. Our starters were 6 for 6 on their possessions that they had, and so that was really good to see our offense just be more efficient. And then, the defense, other than one, kind of big trap play they hit us on, was pretty solid all night. So overall, really good game. And like I said, it was really that Thursday practice really locked in and got us ready to go. So a few more of those practices this week, and I think we'll be ready.
Chase, playing the quarterback's position, how has that been different from your years, prior to this one?
Yeah, obviously there's a lot more responsibility as a quarterback. You got to lead your offense. But, I have a little bit of experience, learning from great coaches and great players in the past few years and just kind of trying to model my way of leadership and play like them. So, yeah, it's a lot different than playing receiver, but I feel like I've been prepared well to be able to perform that position.
What coaches challenged you last week?
Challenged me probably Dan Panetta or Coach Panetta. He got after me a little bit, but yeah, you take it. It's coaching, and it makes you better.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Especially just the growth piece, having that fail forward mindset you have to at the quarterback position. So what are we looking at, Mr. Petersen? Mr. Petersen, in regards to, this is your third varsity Whitehall Montague game. So you've kind of been through the ringer a little bit. You've been on both ends.
Yeah.
What are you or how are you preparing for this for your senior year? In regards to this one.
Well, this is actually my second varsity game against Whitehall because last year I busted my back, wasn't able to play, and obviously freshman year with the knee injury, I haven't played them either. So this is my first time actually playing at their place, and I am so excited. I'm ready to go in there and give it all I got.
What are you looking forward to in the means of the game as you guys prepare for these guys? What players are you looking forward to going against?
Actually, my best friend goes to Whitehall. His name's Grayson Shepard, and we don't know if he can play right now because he's having some knee issues, but I'm really hoping I get to play against him because I think I've only played against him once, and it was during that COVID year when things were weird and you couldn't talk to the players after the game and all that stuff. So I'm really excited to try to go out there and play against him.
And with that being said, you probably have a lot of close friends that are probably on both sides of it.
Yeah.
You guys play a lot of club
Yep.
Baseball and those kinds of things, so you guys know these guys pretty well at a different level than maybe other communities know others. What are you guys looking forward to in regards to that one, to that piece of it?
I always think it's fun because, we've grown up with all those guys playing baseball, football, basketball, all that White Lake stuff. So, after the game, you can go and talk to them and reflect on the game as seeing two different sides of the story, win and loss, both teams come together and having a good chat about the game after. That's what I love playing against those guys because it's just fun. It's playing against your friends, just like in the backyard.
Chase, what's the difference between Montague and Whitehall? I know that you were obviously you didn't grow up in Montague and go to the public schools your entire time, but what does what is the difference in your perspective because of that between Montague and Whitehall?
There's not a whole lot that separates the towns. Obviously the bridge, but Whitehall is definitely a bigger school. In Division 4, we're Division 6. They got a lot more depth on their team. But, I think they both have – we have good coaches. They have good coaches, great athletes on both sides. But, I don't know. I feel like we're a really gritty team, and we're going to put our best work into it. And I don't know how they're preparing for us yet.
I do know the scouting report, but what separates the two teams? In regards to the city and the town, what do you think?
They got a McDonald's.
Okay, so they get fast food restaurants
That's right.
in Whitehall. All right, that's good stuff, man. All right, Coach Dennett, as you prepare for this one and you're kind of reviewing your season here, you obviously had a close one against Spring Lake, so I hear the word gritty. be able to come out and this team showed some grit. And then, we had a little bit of a slip up against Ravenna at their place, which is a tough place to play, but also is a tough opponent, in regards to previous seasons and historically and just the community that surrounds them. And then we're able to kind of play that OV game and get around. So reflecting back to June, July, August, what do you like about this team? And where do you think, their ceiling is?
Yeah, I think what I like so far is that they just don't quit, and you saw that in the Spring Lake game because our offense was kind of hit or miss there. We made some big plays but couldn't really sustain drives, and our defense really kept us in that one. And then it came down to just a couple big plays at the end of the game, an interception and a long pass that really sealed the deal for us in that one. And then the Ravenna game, it was just like nothing went our way. 2 players ejected, another two-way starter out with an injury. So it was just a tough one. We fumbled going into score. So a lot of things went against us, and sometimes that happens. And we wish we could go back and do some things differently, but it is what it is. So we're sitting at 2-1 right now, and back in June, I guess we weren't really sure what we had with this team because there's some inexperienced guys. A lot of returning starters, but in some key spots, we have some inexperienced guys, kind of like Chase, we didn't know for sure what we'd have at quarterback, but he's, done a great job so far and really played well. So I think we're really happy with where we're at. Obviously, Ravenna was a tough one, but I think our ceiling's really high because it was more just inexperience that we weren't sure about. And now coaching those guys up and getting those guys more experience, I think we could really make some strong strides and growth throughout the season.
Right. So I think, the growth piece, that's coaching talk, right? I mean, we're always kind of looking for that. What can we take away from this preparation and this game going against Whitehall?
Yeah, this is, on paper, they're the toughest opponent on our schedule. So, it's one of those, we're really going to see where we match up, and, we think we have a really strong team as well. So, in terms of the outlook of the season after this week, I think it just is like a measuring stick to see where we're at in the conference and kind of see where we can go in the playoffs and down the road. But, right now we're just focused on getting better and seeing what we can do this week against them. So it's going to be a tough one, but we'll definitely learn a lot about ourselves after Friday.
Right. So you've been around. We've been around the a couple different schools with Byron Center and Greenville, and now you've been at the Montague. What have you seen in your different stops that makes Montague just different than the others?
I think it's just the winning tradition with football. I mean, there's not a lot of places like this that have the state title tradition and playoff runs year in and year out where that's just the expectation. And so there's a lot of positives to that, obviously. A lot of pressure can be put on kids and coaches and things like that. But I think all of our guys really embrace that. But that's the big difference from the other places I've been. Byron Center has a good winning tradition, but not the deep playoff runs. And so the state titles and the playoff tradition here really separates it from other places.
What have you learned, within your time the last, I guess 2 years at Montague, in regards to, to those types of traditions?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is kind of the motivation and the managing expectations and behaviors and all of that being a head coach, you have to try and get the best results out of each guy. So that's been the biggest, I guess, challenge, or where I've kind of grown the most, I think, is learning how to manage those behaviors and expectations that everyone has here, and just getting the most out of our guys and trying to prepare them for those big situations.
Right. I think Owen too, when you guys are probably senior leaders at this point, possibly captains and those types of things. What are you guys, I guess, leadership wise, what are you guys trying to make sure that, the guys underneath you are learning as the season goes on in regards to tradition?
I'd say we need to we're trying to teach them just the little things. The little things in practice will lead to the big things in the game. So if you're not succeeding at the little things in practice, you won't be able to do those big things in the game. And I think a lot of guys are trying to preach that, and us seniors are trying to preach that too. And I think that's actually one of the things we struggled with in the week preparing for the Ravenna game, because everybody had us down as, you guys are going to win, like all this stuff. So we went into that game thinking, oh, it's just another game where we're going to come in here, dominate, and leave. And they obviously showed us up. They prepared way better, and they flat out beat us. And I thought that was, like, props to them. I thought it was sweet. And that really was an eye-opener to me, Chase, and the rest of the senior leaders, that we need to flip a switch. There's something not right here that we need to get going. So we're starting off little things is definitely a key to being a successful team, I'd say.
So in following back on that, do you guys ever feel the pressure of upholding the traditions, or do you guys ever feel as if that maybe you guys are searching a little bit, or do you feel strong because of the leaders that came before you?
Yeah, I'd say there's definitely pressure there, especially with your teams in 08 and 09 and our team in 2020 just flat out dominating everybody and making it look easy. And then you go out and you become one of those leaders and you realize, oh, it's not that easy. There's actually things that you have to do and goals that you have to set to reach those goals that those teams did. And that's what we're trying our hardest to do, and I think we can do it. We've been doing a great job so far. And pretty much every senior on our team knows what's going on. They got it. They got it for sure. I love all those guys.
Chase, is leadership and playing quarterback easy?
No, not at all. I kind of thought it was going to be easier, but you get humbled pretty quick at that.
Right. So I think, stepping into this new position, and you've discussed it a little bit, but now that you're playing quarterback and you guys are 2-1 and going into this big game, do you feel like there's any, I guess just a more difficult preparation going into Whitehall, or have you been a little bit more focused or watching more film, or take us a dive into your weekly preparation?
It's interesting because I haven't had quite the time to be able to watch a ton of film yet, but I know I'm gonna have to be very diligent, knowing what they're gonna do, at least having a good idea. But I just trying to lead my team. If I make a mistake or something, not letting that affect us, because as a quarterback, if you start going down yourself, the offense is gonna go down itself. So just trying to make sure that we can handle Whitehall's chippiness a little bit and be able to push past that and just be prepared for whatever Whitehall's going to bring. Playing them in the past, we know that they're gonna bring it their all, and I know that I have to help this team get ready.
For a casual viewer, Coach, what does Whitehall do so well that Monty's got to prepare for?
They're truthfully pretty balanced, but their speed is probably their biggest strength. They have track stars at their skill positions, but they're also really big up front and can run the ball right at you too. So they can do a little bit of everything. Stratton makes a lot of plays. That was kind of our downfall last year. We felt like we would get him in a third down situation, even some really third and longs, and then he would make something crazy happen. So that's the kind of stuff that we got to be able to limit this year if we're going to come out on top. But yeah, they're big play receivers. When you're watching film, it's not a lot of long drives. It's a lot of big plays, and they're getting down the field quickly. So just keeping them in front of us and, slowing down their drives and doing our best to limit, those third down conversions that really hurt us last year.
What do you guys think as you guys look into this game as well? What do you think that you guys have that maybe Whitehall has to prepare for?
I think we got that underdog, because everybody's been saying they're the team, they're going to blow us out, and I love that we're the underdog. I don't think there could be any better situation. Everybody's doubting us, and we got something to prove. So we work as hard as we can in practice, and I think we're going to come out there and play our hardest game, because like I said, in that Ravenna game, we went into that thinking, oh, it's just another game, where this is the big game, and they got us losing. So what are we going to do to show them they're wrong? We're going to prove them all wrong is our plan.
Jason, what about you? What do you think that you guys do so well offensively, defensively, locker room, weight room? What do you guys think that your edge is going into this Whitehall game?
I think we're a really fast team as well as Whitehall. We're probably right there with them. We got track stars in our offense and defensive backs. We got some big guys up front too. Joe Winkleman, he's a big dude. He'd be one of the biggest guys in the field. But I think we're really tight as a team. That game at Ravenna, I think, brought us all together and showed that, we need to be brothers now. And I think that our culture is going to be a key factor in this game, being able to depend on your brother next to you.
As you guys, and coach, as you kind of create this culture, your culture at Montague, what have you found to be, I guess just like the hardest pieces, and what also has been, kind of the most rewarding?
Probably being in a smaller district, just not having, or I don't know how really to phrase this, just everybody's a 3-sport athlete on our team. That's probably one of the toughest things in the off season is I don't have as much access to the guys as maybe I'd like. Right. So that was kind of a tough part. But overall, we obviously want to push those 3-sport athletes as long as, they're making sure they're in the weight room as well. But that was one challenge, I guess. And it's like, hit or miss where you want that, but you also want them on your own time too. So that's one thing that was, unique in the off season, but our guys do a good job of being prepared. And this summer they were locked in. So we had really good attendance all summer. We would get 50 guys to every session. So varsity and JV. So, the attendance was great. Probably the most rewarding is just seeing those relationships grow throughout the off season, doing some fun things, with, Meraki like you guys did at
Right.
Puffer.
Right.
I think we worked with them twice, and that really, I think, brought us together and kind of challenged us and made us realize some things that we need to work on, but also just, again, brought us together. So
Right. Don't give us all your secrets, but what are you thinking the X factor is for the Montague Whitehall game?
I think the biggest thing is going to be slowing down Stratton, really taking away those third down conversions that was the factor last year. We felt like we did a really good job on defense on first and second down, and then on third down we gave up some big plays. So that's going to be a big one. Offensively, we just got to sustain drives as well. The first couple games, we had some really big plays on offense, but we kind of had a tough time chipping away too. So it's going to come down to sustaining drives, and then on defense, just third down. That's going to be the X factor.
So Chase, when Whitehall walks into the stadium and they got the bell in their hands and they place it onto the other sideline, talk about those emotions that are going to be going through you, and also as if you were going to win, and what you would do as well, and talk us through that.
Yeah, obviously, it was a lot of emotions after last year's loss. You don't like having to carry the bell out to midfield and watch them jump around and take it from you. It's something that it's very big to the players and coaches here. We want to always be Whitehall, and when you see them walk out with that, it's real. These guys are ready. They took it from us last year, but now it's our turn to take it back home. And when we win, it's gonna be amazing to take that back from them. It took a 1-year vacation, but it's back to stay.
I like that a lot. Where are you guys going to put the bell? Where does the bell stay?
The school.
Oh, I mean, I get it. It goes
Right.
to school. It's not going to go to your house, but
Weight room.
Okay, it's
Same
gonna.
place as Sept for the last.
Okay, it's going to go to the weight room. All right, I like that. This is your last one, Owen. This is your last Montague Whitehall game. Like you said before, there's a lot of, I guess just there's a lot of carryover from other sports that you guys have played against one another. You said your best friend plays at Whitehall. That'd be cringy for me if I was your teammate. But you said your best friend plays over on the other side.
Yep.
What would it mean to win that bell for one last, at your kind of your sunset, going off into your sunset there? What would that mean to you?
You see, I don't really look at it as a huge game. It definitely is. They're our toughest opponent, but I like to look at it as just another game we got to go out and win. I have bigger goals than a bell. And sure, it's a rivalry game. You love to win those. But in the end, I want to win every game I play. I don't want to come out here thinking, oh, big, bad Whitehall, this is the biggest game of the year. That's not my Super Bowl. My Super Bowl is the last game of the year, and that's the freaking championship. So I got bigger goals than a bell. I don't really worry about the bell, but it would be nice to get it.
Okay, all right. You can make a great politician. Deflect my question. But as we kind of wrap this thing up, Owen, what are you looking most forward to for your senior season? What do you want to get out of this?
Another ring. I'd like to rock 2 in my hand. I think that'd be sweet. And honestly, just making friends. Like, I've noticed since football started, I've started hanging out with this guy across from me a lot more than I ever have, and I love it. And I've started hanging out with a lot of the other guys on the team. So, I don't know, that's fun, and I love just going to battle with them and hanging out with them at practice. We love to have fun, and we work hard together, and it really shows. And the biggest takeaway, I'd definitely say is winning a ring. That's my goal, flat out.
Chase, what about you? What is your takeaway? What do you want out of this year?
Obviously I want to win another state championship. That'd be sweet. But building friendships with these guys that are gonna last a lifetime. Obviously hanging out with Owen a lot, and there's plenty of guys in this team that I consider like almost family at this point. Playing with them for 4 years. But my overarching goal is to win another state title, take away a conference championship, and be the top dogs.
Right on. And Coach Dennett, you've been part of some larger communities. Now you're in a smaller community, and you see a lot of these just groups of kids just kind of come through in waves, and you kind of get attached to them a little bit. I have, Sam Smith and Walker Martin on my freshman staff, and we were able, their freshman practice got over with a little bit, and I called them over to the varsity side, and they got to kind of be around. And sometimes you forget how attached you are to some of these, the relationships that grow from the game of football. What do you like most about this team, and what are you really, really excited that you get to go to work and every morning and every night? Like what are some of those things that you look forward to?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, like they talked about, is the relationships and the brotherhood. These guys, they're a tight group, and so it's just fun to be around them. And during the school day, having the guys in the lifting class, and even though Chase, goofs around all the time,
yeah,
it makes it fun. But that's probably the most enjoyable part. Kind of like you said, having guys come back too. Like Cooey, he was around the last month. He would show up to practice when he could and help us out, and now he moved off to California. But that was just really cool to have him back and have him helping out, and he would share some words of wisdom with the guys after practice or games, and it just means a lot to have guys want to come back. And I know I was only here for a year, but it was cool to have that, and hopefully we'll continue to develop that.
What is Chase bench pressing these days?
I don't even know right now. Now that he switched to quarterback, I'm not as concerned with his bench press.
Oh, Chase benches?
Yeah.
It's not a whole lot.
He avoids it like the plague. Huh? All right, not a whole lot.
He loves to clean, but bench.
Okay, let's just stick to the things that I enjoy doing. Okay. I like that. What I think this has been really good, guys. I think this is we've been able to dive deep into your guys' psyche and your culture and kind of your expectation for this game going into Friday. I wish you guys nothing but luck. I always enjoyed those games. That was a game, unlike Owen, that was the Super Bowl in my world. I wanted to ensure that, at least I had bragging rights over the bridge. And I'm excited to kind of watch you guys play. And, everyone likes a good underdog story. So you guys are serving that one up nice and, bring that bell home. But before we leave, and we got to thank our title sponsor again, VanDyk Mortgage Lakeshore. Also thanks to Foundation Systems of Michigan Scheid Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, David Dusenberry, Durga Insurance, Chris Dykema and Sarah Real at Green Ridge, Big Stone Therapies, North Grove Brewers, and Grieve Law. That will do it for this week's episode for VanDyk Mortgage West Michigan Conference Weekly Coaches Show. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.